So that's the thing, Shane. I was going to sit here. We're going to break down some more Caleb Williams tape. We didn't really go over a lot of stuff because there was a lot to like about what we saw out of Caleb Williams last night, the Sunday night football game, the primetime football game where the haters already had their tweets ready to go. They had two drafts. They had two drafts going. One of them was going to say, "Oh, relax, Bears fans. It's just preseason." Or the other one was going to say, "See, Caleb is a bust." They were ready to go. So it was a win-win for all the haters out there last night because regardless of what Caleb ever did out on the field, you were going to be able to diminish it by casting it aside as being only preseason, or you're going to be able to say he was a bust, which is what you really wanted. That's what you really wanted to say, but you were unable to say it because he was going out there and he was killing it. And speaking of killing it, we are going to kill it tonight. We have got a great guest. You are not going to want to miss this. So, Shane, let's just go ahead and start the show.
Welcome to our Fantasy Island.
Welcome, everybody, to the Fantasy Island. It is me, Adam Rank of the NFL Network and the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. We are so excited because you know what? We try to do. This is a team effort. This isn't just me. This is a team effort when we're out here doing these things, and we got a lot of people behind the scenes putting it together. So tonight, over the last couple of days, we've been working on this guest, and I'm like, "Is this really going to happen?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it is going to happen." So excluding the people that I work with, this might be my favorite fantasy analyst of everybody who I do not work with. So this is not, I don't want to show up at work tomorrow and have Cynthia like mad dogging me or anything. So outside of my coworkers, sorry, Matt Harmon. I'm going to count Matt Harmon to that too, but still one of my favorites. I sit here every morning, 7 a.m. On my drive to work. I listen to this show. She and her co-host Adam Ronis are amazing. And, but we got her and she is one of my favorites and she's a Mariners fan, which shows you how much I like her. So please welcome to the show from Fantasy Life, the great Kendall Valenzuela. Kendall, how you living?
Wow, what an intro. Checks in the mail. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to reconnect with you. I haven't seen you since the Super Bowl. I'm pumped and I am a Mariners fan. So it shows that I have true loyalties to teams that maybe I shouldn't, but here we are, we're excited. I'm pumped. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing great. I've been flying all day. Yesterday was amazing for me because Arsenal won their opener in the Premier League. The Angels won, which was cool. They didn't get swept by Oakland or Sacramento or whomever. And then the Bears went out there and it wasn't about wins or losses, but Caleb Williams went out there and looked amazing. And too often, we get so pumped for a quarterback and they were like, this is what it is. This sucks. Last night really delivered. As a Bears fan, I'm obviously biased, but Kendall, I'm really interested in getting your perspective. I actually heard it this morning, but still, I'm interested in you giving the perspective to this audience. What did you think about Caleb Williams last night? Because I thought it could not have gone better.
Dude, I mean, played the first two drives, and now you have a chance to say, like, Caleb Williams looked good. And Adam tweeted it, and Adam Ronis tweeted it yesterday, and he was like, you said it at the beginning, too. It's like people wait, and they watch these games, and they're ready to either say, Caleb Williams a bust, like you said, or it's the opposite, where now Justin Fields should go as, QB 30, and now Caleb Williams should be a top 5 quarterback. But I was excited to see it. We have a ton riding on him in fantasy football, like on him. I know we're going to get into it, but him, Ben Johnson. And so to kind of see it out there, doing it in action, it was nice to see. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for you.
No, I'm thrilled. I was of the mind. I've been telling people, anybody who will listen, they're like, what will happen if this doesn't work out with Caleb and Ben Johnson? I'm like, well, I will go down to Sears. I will purchase as many wrenches as possible, stick them in my pockets, and then walk off the Huntington Beach Pier. And then that'll be the last you ever see of me. Like if this doesn't, it still might not. I mean, it was 2 series, anything like that. But it's interesting too, because I do know a couple of months ago, you put together your top 10 list of quarterbacks. You had Caleb Williams at the time as the quarterback 10, which I thought was very fair. It was very generous. Justin Fields was 11, I believe. After seeing after everything through the preseason, going through last night, Does this cement how you feel, or do you think it's going to be even better than what you initially thought?
I think it cements how I feel because I am not bold enough. I think the only ranker that we have that has Caleb Williams inside the top 10 is Dwayne McFarland, and I believe he has him at 9, which I think is very fair because the way that I'm looking at my rankings with Caleb Williams, even at QB10, you're getting him at a bargain on a ton of sites. Like, he is the quarterback that if I don't get the top 5 guys, and that starts with Josh Allen and for me ends with Joe Burrow, with those, dual threat or these elite quarterbacks that they're going to just have to throw their hearts out, especially the Bengals, because we're expecting them and their defense to be bad again. You're getting him at a value. And I think to myself, I say, okay, if I don't get these top 5 guys, I am perfectly comfortable waiting for Caleb Williams, because I do believe that with everything that's happened this offseason, they have left no stone unturned to make him a good quarterback. So now it's up to him. And I know that probably scares Bears fans and fantasy managers alike, because you're right. This could blow up in our faces. And we're drafting right now like everything's going to be amazing. And so there's probably going to be one player, right, that doesn't outperform their ADP.
Oh, yeah.
We have to be comfortable and careful with that, because the way that we're drafting right now means that everything's going to go right. And I hope for Bears fans alike that it does. But for Caleb Williams, he's not one that I'm backing down on. I just do believe that with the potential dual threat nature, with a guy that hopefully gets over, the 4,000 yard passing mark, has a new head coach, has a ton of weapons. Like I said, they've left it all out there. So now it's up to Caleb Williams to step up and perform, because we thought last season he had the best situation coming
100%.
into a rookie. And so now we can't, it's the same thing. He's got one of the best situations for a quarterback going into a second year, where you say, okay, now they've done even more with the offensive line, with the weapons. So no, I'm very comfortable QB10. And I look at him and I just say, I'm comfortable waiting. And like I said, I think QB9 for Dwayne is the highest we have, but I like them both.
Yeah. The only difference was last season during preseason, we were watching it, and you're like, is this going to get better? Because we were all talking ourselves into it, like best. I think I said it about 1 million times, like no lie, literally, not figuratively, literally 1 million best situation for a rookie quarterback of all time.
Yes, it was.
It really was, and it didn't work out.
Okay.
I do want to ask you though, because did you have a draft? Do you have a draft tonight or today? I know you're picking what, third?
Oh yeah. I had a draft with Adam. I have a draft CBS league with Adam Ronis. We picked third. We got Bijan Robinson, actually. Bijan,
okay.
However you want.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson.
And then GST is on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've been picking like 14th or 10th or 14th. A lot of 14s for you. But let me ask you, the team that you did with Adam today, who'd you end up with a quarterback?
We didn't. It's a slow draft.
Oh, so, it's a slow draft. Okay.
I'm hoping, could be Caleb. So that league is just one QB. And so picking at 3, CBS this is why it's so important, everyone. Just check your ADPs. I say this all the time with Adam on SiriusXM, but just make sure you're familiar with these ADPs across different platforms. CBS, we could wait till probably round 11 or 12 to get a quarterback if we really wanted to, but it's a slow draft. So I'll keep you updated maybe in hopefully less than 2 weeks. It's over.
Okay. Jeez. The slow drafts are fun, but they're also a pain in the
They take so
the rear
long.
end for that,
Exactly.
for that reason. I always get into these leagues with people. I'm in a league with some friends who live in Scotland, and the draft is paused right now from 4:00 my time to like 3 a.m. And then of course I'll miss a pick because they'll be
naturally
like, hey, Rank, we've been waiting for you. Like, dude, I live in California. It's not even the East Coast. Like, I'm in California. Like, you got just like
exactly.
It's so frustrating sometimes. I'd rather just do it.
I'm with you.
I do want to ask though, like in a certain philosophy, because another person, because I'll listen to Jeff Mans, and I heard him talking about this today, about going and getting that quarterback, or like getting the elite quarterback early, where he was talking about, hey, I'll get Lamar or Josh Allen in the 3rd or 4th round. Do you ever dabble with that, or are you comfortable just waiting?
No, I do. And it's funny you asked that, because this season I feel like I've been way more open to it. Because like I said, the top 5 quarterbacks for me, again, it's rankings. Rankings are opinions. So you guys can have different opinions. But to me, it does start with Josh Allen. You go to Lamar Jackson, you go to Jaden Daniels, and then you say, okay, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. At some point this season, I was just looking around and I was just telling myself that at some point in round 3 or the 2-3 turn, it gets kind of gross. And like you said, I haven't been getting many, for whatever reason, I haven't been getting many picks in the first 5. The first 5 or 6 picks just has not come to me this season, which has been very frustrating. But at that turn, especially, sometimes you have so many question marks, especially at receivers, because I'm usually a 0 RB drafter. So I'll say to myself, depending on the build, I'll go in and I'll say, okay, I want to make sure that I am getting all my receivers that I need, especially if it's 2, 3 flex spots. I just want to make sure I shore up some good receivers at the beginning, because there's such a huge teardrop, in my opinion, of talent. And then you look around and you say, okay, where can I get better here? But the 2-3 turn, I mean, you've got Tyreek Hill's over there, you've got Devontae Adams over there, depending on where you're drafting. So yeah, that's a long answer to say I've been way more comfortable this season getting the more elite quarterbacks and then just building my team out from there. But when I do that, and for a lot of people, depending on how many bench spots, then I just don't take another. I've seen too many people waste a pick, where it's maybe not to them a waste, but to me, if I take that elite quarterback, I'm going to worry about their bye week when it comes closer. A couple weeks
100%.
out, it's going to be fine. Unless you have a ton of bench spots, then it's different. But for me, I'll take the elite quarterback this season. I'm also way more open to taking, walking out of a draft with 2 running backs right inside the top 5 rounds. It's just been a really different draft strategy this season, where, there are guys that I'm comfortable waiting on, but if you miss out on those ones that you wait for, it gets a little bit tough, Adam. It gets a little bit rough.
I feel like we've almost done a disservice to people over the years, being like, wait on the quarterback.
Exactly.
Because in a lot of leagues too, because I was in a league this weekend where I took Lamar Jackson and I believe the 3rd. And the reason being is that our scoring system really rewards quarterbacks. You have to have a good quarterback. It's very hard to win with a Geno Smith, as opposed to some leagues. I know, like NFL.com basic leagues, like quarterback almost doesn't matter. Like it's a non-factor. Like the difference between Jaden Daniels and Geno Smith was negligible last year, because it's just a dumb. I think it's important to know what your system looks like and what your scoring's like and who you're drafting with. Like, are people going to go on runs for quarterbacks? Are they going to take multiple quarterbacks? I think all that stuff is a very different. It's a very important way to go about your draft process. By the way, speaking of fantasy, you can win your fantasy league or you can own it. Too many fantasy champs walk away with a plastic trophy and a sad little group chat. GG. That ain't it. This is Crown Champs, baby. Custom championship crowns, rings, scepters, robes, Kendall.
Nice.
You don't just win your league, you rule it. And sure, your buddy's hosting a draft at Applebee's. Check this out. At Crown Champs, they're doing rooftop parties, party buses, even freaking yachts. Yeah, that's right. Yachts. You and Stephon Diggs, yachts. So listen, fantasy football just got royal. Sign up for the Hall of Champions subscription, designer level gear starting at just $2.99 a month. That's less than your league mates spend crying into their chicken tenders at Applebee's. Don't play like a peasant. Get crowned like a champ. Hit crownchamps.com. That's crownchamps.com and tell them Adam Rank sent you. Promo code RANK15 and save 15%. I forget too, when I lead into that one on this show, we're already talking fantasy. Usually we're talking Bears talk. Like, hey, we're breaking down the left tackle.
Sick read, by the way. I want robes and yachts. What are we doing? I like it.
It is honestly like such a great, it's such a great thing. I found these guys that actually done a cameo, or I did a cameo for them. And I'm like, hey, how do we get involved with this? This is actually pretty cool. Like, I want a crown. I want a robe.
Hysterical. I love that. I love it.
Everybody does the belts now.
I know. We need something new. Yachts and robes.
Yes. Yachts and robes. Hey, by the way, Shane, are there questions, by the way, that we can tackle? Because if not, I've got plenty of stuff to go over with Kendall. If we're not getting questions, if you have a question, fly it up, interrupt us or anything like that.
Please.
Oh, got some from Twitter. All right. Well, if you got some from Twitter, you can hit us up at any point. I will ask her real quick. Okay. Oh, Loki. Oh, this guy. I love this guy. Will it be safe to draft Caleb as a starting quarterback this season? Cheers from Mexico. We kind of already answered that, but it's worth going over again. Yes.
Hell yeah.
It is super safe. Like, were you had him at top 10, so it was never an issue for you, but was there any point during the offseason when Caleb missed the net, were you like, that's it, I got to change my rankings? Or were you like, it's one thing one moment caught in practice.
Yeah, no, I changed my rankings for the evening and then updated it at like 4 a.m. so people wouldn't see, just so I could get it out of my system. No, I'm totally kidding. But no, I try not to overreact too much to preseason. I know we love to do that, and that's kind of our jobs, is to find diamonds in the rough. But for Caleb Williams, to answer that question, I've been drafting him as just my starting quarterback. I will say, once you get to a certain range of Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, I will take a second quarterback with them just in case. It is just the way to do it. It's the top 5, top 6, top 7 guys. You get the Baker Mayfields, the Patrick Mahomes, and the top 5 that we talked about. Don't necessarily need to do that, but with the Caleb Williams, with the Justin Fields, Drake Maye, who I've loved to take as well. Those are just some of the guys where I will take them. I will be comfortable with them as my starting quarterbacks, but also just in case things go south, like sometimes it does for fantasy football and just football in general, I always like to have a backup for those guys just in case. But I'm very comfortable with it. I've just loved their whole offseason, and it just got better as the weeks went on, to be totally honest.
No, for sure. Are there which one of the receivers do you trust, or which one do you think is the better value for the Bears? Because obviously DJ Moore, I think that's the one that's the first guy coming off the board. But with so many guys available on that team, you got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden III, the 2 tight ends. Is it worth it going in? Is like Caleb the only guy you could draft, or are some of those other guys safe too?
No, I've been taking a lot of the other guys, to be totally honest. I think the person I have the least amount of exposure to is Luther Burden, only because I got, the vibes were a little bit weird there for a while. He was sitting out at camp, and then you heard like maybe there was some kind of like bad chemistry with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's calling him out at the podium. So for a little while, I just kind of was like, oh, okay, I'll back off this guy for a little bit. But to be honest, the guy that I've taken the most of, which I was surprised about until I looked, was Colston Loveland, to be honest. I think where he's going right now, and when we talk about tight ends, we've been spoiled. This. The last couple of seasons, we've been spoiled with these rookie tight ends coming in and immediately making an impact. And for years before, historically, we weren't able to say that. We would say, don't draft a rookie tight end because they're not going to do anything. Then we had a Sam Laporta year. Then we had a Brock Bowers year most recently. And so to me, I look at Tyler Warren, I look at Colston Loveland. And for me, Colston Loveland, especially, some people want to follow the money, with everything else that goes on. And I do the same thing as well. But, to me, Cole Kmet, follow the money. I'm like, okay, there's a reason that Ben Johnson decided to go out and get the Colston Loveland at the price that he did in the draft. And he does not do that unless he has a plan for him, in my opinion. So with the price that he's at right now, especially, it's not like you're not spending top 5 tight end money. You're not spending on someone that's going inside the top 6, top 7, top 8. So you can really, in my opinion, round out your roster getting a Tyler Warren or a Colston Loveland that's just going a little bit later, that I think, based on their profile, have the ability to really potentially break out this season. And I'm not saying Brock Bowers-esque, but it feels like the same situation especially with Tyler Warren more specifically, where you're just like, don't like the situation, I don't like the quarterback, but he has the talent. I think Colston Loveland, we have to look at the draft capital. And to me, I just look and I say, I like it. I think he can really outperform that ADP where he's going.
100%. I've actually had to reverse course a little bit on this one. I've been advising everybody, when people are asking about it, and I was pretty steadfast in saying, listen, in Dynasty, I think it's no question Colston Loveland was the guy to go with. I wouldn't even put him up, but I was like, in redraft, I'm waiting to see a little bit. I said I would leave my draft with him. I felt like I was always drafting him, but I wasn't drafting him as my number 1. I would get Evan Ingram, and then someone might call it a wasted pick, but I'm like, I'm still taking Colston Loveland because I don't want him on the waiver wire in case he does pop for those reasons you just said. Like, we've seen too many tight ends step into the NFL and just immediately become stars. So like, why would I leave that? Even if he's on my bench for the entirety of the season, I would rather have him be on my bench than my opponent's starting lineup. So I really am encouraged by what I've seen out of him. And after last night, you're like, okay, I'm in. Like I'm almost now like, should I just draft him as my starter? Because a lot of times you're missing out on some of these guys and you're like, okay, well, what do I do here? I'm taking David Njoku and Colston Loveland. Now I don't feel like you need that safety blanket.
No, and we look at the tight ends. Sometimes, like the tight end landscape, we can all agree. I don't think this is a fantasy football hot take. It's really gross. Like, to be honest, you don't get the top 3. What are we doing? Like, sometimes they're separated like tight end 7 to tight end 12 finishers are sometimes separated by what, 10 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing crazy like the top 3. We know the elite guys. We know Brock, we know Trey McBride, and we know George Kittle are going to get theirs. And so it's trying to find, like I said, not diamonds in the rough, because I think everyone knows Colston Loveland. I think he came in with the rookie supermodel from Dwayne McFarland. If you all haven't checked that out at fantasylife.com, he does a great job, but he was the 5th highest rated tight end in the history of the rookie supermodel from Dwayne. So it's like, at some point, you just have to look at talent overall. And you could say, like, okay, yes, the Bears have a lot of mouths to feed, but at the end of the day, the talent is going to rise to the top. And if he becomes one of Caleb's like best chemistry guys, he's just going to pay it off. I just think he's going in a range where I understand. But to me, I take him every time. And I sometimes just, take him as my first tight end, because I'm like, I think he's going to pay off.
No, and it's worth the risk for me. I mean, especially when you're drafting late and doing all that stuff.
Exactly.
It's really worth it. But it is interesting too, because talking about drafting Caleb as a starter, it's interesting because this weekend I did have Lamar Jackson in the 3rd round. In another draft I had done like the previous week, I took Caleb Williams in the 2nd to last round as my starting quarterback.
Wow.
Just because I could. And because the scoring system, nobody was drafting 2 quarterbacks. There's so many. And I also backed it up with JJ McCarthy, because I'm like,
there we go.
What of you two need to come through? What do you think about JJ McCarthy this year?
Oh, I love JJ. I'm so glad. See, this is why we're friends. It's just like we can go back and forth and confirm what we believe. I love JJ McCarthy this season. He's been another one of these quarterbacks where, now listen, I'm not walking away with JJ McCarthy as my first quarterback. He's more like, hey, I'll take him, second quarterback going. I'll make sure to have him. Superflex is definitely someone where I'll have him as my second QB. But if you're in 1 quarterback leagues, there's going to be a lot better guys ahead of him. But I think JJ McCarthy is in a great situation. We don't have a sample size from last year, right, Adam, where we look around, he was hurt and it's just like, damn, what can we do? But I believe in Kevin O'Connell, to be totally honest. If this team looked us in the eye and said, hey, we actually we don't need to have Sam Darnold here because we have JJ McCarthy, I think there's a level of truth to someone that we call a quarterback whisperer for fantasy. Like, he made Kirk Cousins relevant. He made Sam Darnold most recently relevant. And so you bring JJ McCarthy in. Now he's got, finally, hopefully going to have a full healthy season. And the receiving weapons like Justin Jefferson, what do we do? Jordan Addison, after he's done with his 3-game suspension, TJ Hawkinson, we can keep going. I love Aaron Jones in that backfield. I love Jordan Mason. So to me, JJ McCarthy is one of my favorite late round sleeper quarterbacks where your league mates might look at you and be like, ugh, JJ McCarthy, what are you doing? Like, why? But he's just been one of my favorite guys to leave drafts with, especially if you're waiting. I mean, if you're waiting all that time, you might as well get someone that could, again, outperform their ADP for 2025.
No, and one of the things too, it's not just Kevin O'Connell. I think when you look at the Mike Shanahan coaching tree, and the Mike Shanahan being the patriarch that includes Kyle, Sean McVay, and let's throw Kevin O'Connell. There's some other guys in there, but of those 3 guys, anytime they get a quarterback who necessarily is not super talented, CJ Beathard, who is the other guy? Nick Mullins. Those guys perform well in short spurts. And it's not, they're better than me. Like, they're good, but compared to their NFL brethren, they're not good. But they perform well. But when you take a guy with talent, and look what Sean McVay did getting Baker Mayfield back. Look at what Kyle has done with Brock Purdy and some of the other guys. Look at what KOC did with Sam Darnold. To me, that's the floor for JJ McCarthy, is somebody with first round ability should be able to perform at a level like Brock Purdy. And I know it angers the 49er fans, but it's true. And I think it's a real safe floor for JJ McCarthy, and he's my fallback for Caleb Williams. So I have a lot of confidence in both of them. Another young quarterback, another second-year quarterback that I know you love. You said a couple of days ago he is going to finish in the top 10.
Oh,
Drake Maye is going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, why not? Why it's hot take season, because I'm not wrong right now, and I won't be wrong for a few months, so it'll be great. No, I love Drake Maye. This is one that could definitely burn me, because this is probably the one that I've gotten the most pushback from, Adam, which is hilarious to me, because I'm like, you're pushing back at that, but we like drafting JJ McCarthy. That's crazy. Like, tell me more. But I love Drake Maye. I love the potential that he has, not only to have a little bit more in the designed rush department, because we've been hearing rumors like, hey, we're going to give him more designed runs and that's going to be good for him. I also like the Stefon Diggs. I think the Stefon Diggs addition is good to this team as well. So like, if they're able to really step up, they drafted Travion Henderson, who is one of the running backs I'll probably draft the most this season. Maybe I'm just totally in on the Patriots in 2025. Not going to say that they're going to the Super Bowl or whatever, because that's probably not going to happen. But I do like Drake Maye because of the potential of him to step up, not only as a passer, but he does have legs. We saw the sample size last season where he was able to show us something once he did get that full-time role. It took a little while. The situation with the Patriots last season wasn't great either, with the coaching and all the weird stuff that was going on there. So I really do. I think Vrabel in this offense with Drake Maye just has the potential to really shine, especially like I said, I think they really did well enough for their receivers to bring him someone, Kyle Williams, Stefon Diggs, Demario Douglas. I do think they can step up. I still love Hunter Henry. He's one of my later round tight ends that I've also been taking. So with the potential for him to do better through the air. And again, we like to target guys that run a little bit, that we don't have. Here's the thing. We unfortunately don't have a Jaden Daniels this season. That was last year, right? We were banging the table. We were trying to yell from the rooftops like, hey, this is stupid. A guy like Jaden Daniels should never be going outside the top 10, let alone at some point he was going like QB12. And it was like, this is dumb. So we're trying to find a Jaden Daniels in a season where we just don't have him, right? It's just not going to be there. When I talk about, JJ McCarthy, Justin Fields, Drake Maye right now, it's just to say that I think that they are going to outperform their ADP, but they're not going to be top 3 quarterbacks. They're not going to finish top 3 like Jaden, but at least they give you some potential in the rushing department where I'm like, I need a piece of them.
No, I understand that. And when you start to look at the AFC East, there is a possibility that the New England Patriots jump over the Jets and Miami. Not that they're going to challenge the Bills, but challenge possibly for a playoff spot. My question, though, would be, who is the pass catcher that we're targeting if we have Drake Maye and we wanted to stack him?
So the least expensive option would be Kyle Williams, right? I believe I saw that he's a little bit banged up right now. So just keep a beat on that. But I think Stefon Diggs also at his ADP, and I can look at where he's going right now, but I think the risk is already baked in with him. Like we've talked about some of these older receivers, bumping around. You got Deebo Samuel on a new team with the Commanders. You've got Stefon Diggs coming off his injury, which, by the way, last season he was on pace to have a pretty good year with CJ Stroud. The chemistry looked like it was there. And so might his best years be behind him? Yes, but they needed some kind of alpha in this offense and probably a veteran presence to help elevate. And I do believe that Stefon Diggs can help elevate Drake Maye. So to me, it's, if you want the cheapest option, it's Kyle Williams, it's Hunter Henry, who, like I said, if I need a second tight end, I've actually really enjoyed getting him later in drafts. But I think Stefon Diggs at his price is totally fine to go out and get. And if it doesn't work, again, you're not paying a premium for him. So I'm kind of okay with it. But he's on yachts. He's on boats. Yeah. How can we not be so excited? How can we not be so excited for him?
We got to love him just for that very reason. It's like Ballers, the show Ballers coming to life. Rob Corddry's on there with him.
What are we doing?
Was it you or was it Adam? Did one of you mention today about Travion Henderson catching the ball out of the backfield? Was that a point that was made on your show?
Probably. We talk a lot of Travion Henderson. We love Travion Henderson.
But I felt like that was a really good point. I think it was, I'm pretty confident. Listen, you guys sound, no, you don't.
I know. You sound exactly the same.
No. But like the point of it, because I was getting off the freeway and I was like, that's a good point about Travion Henderson, because when you look at the wide receiver room at Ohio State over the last 5 years, it was you that made this point. Because you were going through the whole litany of the receivers, and you're like, that's a really good point. Because I already like Travion Henderson. I've been drafting him over. I will pass on Omarion Hampton, knowing that that's my signal that like Henderson's not coming back. So you got to jump in on that right now. But I think like you, I feel bad though, because I was talking to Manti Te'o today, and not to name drop or nothing.
Sick brag.
But I was, but we were talking about Stefon Diggs. I'm gonna have to see him again tomorrow and be like, okay. Let's look at the ADP. I think like first blush, because whenever for somebody who's not really into fantasy and they're like, Stefon Diggs, right? It's like, yes, but not how you're thinking of it. Like, don't draft him in the 4th round. But
no, exactly.
Hey, but if you're going to get him in this spot, so I have to go back and start looking through some of the other, not using the NFL.com ADPs, but using some of the other ones. Listen, no disrespect to the NFL ADP. By the way, and I know people out there like to celebrate. Let me ask you a question. Where is your next game day spot going to be? Listen, if you're a real Chicago sports fan, and I'm talking Bears, Hawks, Cubs, Sox, you need to be watching the games at Twisted Shamrock, the place to be on game day. They've got monster TVs in the private party room, the main bar, and outside on their stellar patio. This time of the year in Chicago, nothing beats the outdoor patio. Listen, the Twisted Shamrock has rowdy fans, bucket specials, and our fan favorite, the old fashioned. Oh, the best old fashioned in all of Chicago. You know what? I'll say Illinois. There was a place in Sandwich that was fine. Nope. Twisted Shamrock, way better. Swing by Twisted Shamrock, where Chicago sports come together. If you're visiting Chicago, if you're a Chicago native, you should be hanging out at Twisted Shamrock. One of my favorite stomping joints. Love that place. Nice. And it's by Midway too. So that's the airport that I fly into. So
hey, I lived in Cincinnati, so I know Midway very well.
Oh yeah. Cincinnati. Your airport's not even in the state.
Yeah, tell me about it. When I first flew in, I thought I got on the wrong flight because I was looking around and I was like, Kentucky. Oh no, this is horrible.
Kentucky, you're like, what is going on? I guess
confused.
One of New York's airport. Yeah, right. Oh gosh. It's and I'm afraid of that enough as it is, because I will book flights and forget, like I booked out of Long Beach, but I'm flying back to Santa Ana. And I'll be like, oh, my car's in Long Beach. So
yeah, exactly. I've done that. It's horrible.
Got to lift to my car. Shane, do we have any questions? I don't want to ignore all the questions in case we do have people. Michael, Burden seems to be someone who can steal away to stay away from giving Olamide Zaccheaus emergence. Yeah. What is that? I know that you said that you don't have a lot of Luther Burden exposure because, the vibes weren't great. What do you make of Olamide Zaccheaus? Because he really looks like he has a lot of chemistry with
he does. And like I say, I try not to overreact to preseason, but sometimes like you get a Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt news update and you're like, okay, I actually have to pay attention to this now. So I like Olamide Zaccheaus. Like he's been someone I feel like we've just sprinkled around each seat. Like we've talked about him a little bit here and there. And then it's like, oh, okay. I do tell people, because we actually got this question, I believe, a couple weeks ago for Zaccheaus. And to me, I say to a lot of people, depending on how deep your league is, you're probably going to be picking him up. I feel like you can pick him up off waivers. So it's one of those things where if you're with Bears fans and you don't think you're going to be able to get him, or that someone's going to draft him like last round pick, late round pick, I'm like, yeah, totally fine. But to me, for a lot, I went back and actually looked, and he hasn't been drafted in many of the leagues that I've been in recently, that I've drafted in. So he's someone that I just say, love it. I'm keeping an eye on it, but also, you could maybe pick him up off the waiver wire.
Yeah, if something happens, he feels like a week 2 waiver wire pickup. The Bears are going to be playing host. No, they're going to be on the road, I think, to Detroit. Going into this season, I was like, I think a lot of people, when they're making picks and whatever, we're always like, they'll lose to the Lions in week 2. But now I'm like, why am I conceding? After last night, it's like, why am I conceding anything to anybody? And Ben Johnson, when he's sitting there, they're up 28-0, and he's got that fiery. He's not messing around. To the point of like, I thought Sean McDermott was going to walk over and start fist fighting him. Like, what are you doing? It's preseason. Ben Johnson was not playing around. So there's something to that. So there really is. And I really like Olamide Zaccheaus. I think that he's going to work himself in. I think there's going to be spots where bye weeks happen, injuries happen, and you're like, well, their Bears are going up against somebody like Detroit, whose defense I don't expect to be very good. They're going up against the Raiders, I believe, in week 4, September 28th. I do know because I got to book flights and everything like that. Nice. So there might be some opportunities for him. One of my favorite non-Bears, it might be Abdul Carter, because anybody who's insane, and whoever's insane enough to go to the Giants and be like, can I have number 56? I kind of like that moxie. But my true favorite non-Bear is George Kittle. You love George Kittle this year. I love George Kittle. This is the thing. I was going through your work and listening along on the radio. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like every time you bring him up, I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. Word. I think that this is going to be not that George Kittle needs to break out, but I think he reestablishes himself as a top player in fantasy this year.
I agree. I agree 100%. I actually might just like go far enough where I did my bold predictions and I said like, hey, he finishes as the overall tight end 1, which didn't feel that bold, but then I added in, I also think he gets 110 plus targets, which would for George Kittle be like so insane for him to do, because we're talking about a guy, especially last season, like even last season, he was so good with what he had. I love this stat from Ian. He gave this to me. He was the 5th player in NFL history to gain over 1,100 yards on under 100 targets. But he joined guys like Stephon Diggs, Deshaun Jackson, Jordy Nelson, Mike Wallace. So like and he's a tight end. Like that's the thing that we have to talk about is that, and Adam Ronis always loves to say this, is that put George Kittle in with the Kansas City Chiefs and we would be talking about him so differently, because he would be the focal point of that offense and all this stuff. So George Kittle, with like whatever's going on with, I don't know, Adam, their trainers, their whatever's happening over there with all of their injuries is a kind of a mystery. But if you're telling me that it's just Ricky Pearsall healthy for week 1 and like maybe Brandon Ayuk isn't able to come back, what was the quote, week 5 or week 10, they really don't have a timeline. Like this could be a season again where PPR points per game by year, we've never seen him since, I think the last time he finished tight end 6 was 2023. And that's like the worst that we've seen since 2018. Why wouldn't he be tight end 1 overall again? It just feels like it's right there, especially if you give him the targets, right? I know CMC is going to get his, but to me, like George Kittle, give that man 100, 110 targets and he'll blow us away.
I'm all for it. I go by the same reasoning as well. And when you get rid of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk is coming off, like why is it not George Kittle?
Exactly.
And I sat there and again, I ended up with Colson Loveland, but I took George Kittle when he was, because the first 2 guys go off the board and you're sitting there and you're like, do I really want Tyreek Hill or do I want George? This is the life that I'm living now. You're like,
exactly.
Like we've come to the point, like, I don't like any, like I almost to the point where I don't like any of the Dolphins. I want to get to that. Okay. I got 2 more things I want to talk to you about. I'm not going to keep, I could do this all night, so I won't keep you. I know we got a Commanders game to go watch too, because
that's right.
That's a key battle.
Yeah.
2 things I wanted to talk about. 2 more things I want to get through. Number 1, thank you so much for being here. For everybody who's just joining the show, the voice on the other end is Kendall Valenzuela of Fantasy Life. She's on Sirius XM, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. The best. Her and Adam Ronis, I love. I love Adam.
He's the best.
You're the best. Adam's fine. No, I'm just joking. You guys are a great tandem. A lot of fun to listen to, and I really enjoy it. I do want to ask about the thing that, and you brought this up today too. Devon Achane, who Mike McDaniel is just like, he's got a lower body injury, soft tissue injury, and you're like, thanks for the update, Mike.
Yeah, no
it could be days or years. Like, there's no like I don't know. I've been apprehensive with Achane this season because his efficiency went down last year when they tried to really feature him as a running back. I think if you're in a full-on PPR league, it's safer because he is going to catch the ball. What do we make of this, and what do we make of this injury situation?
I don't love it. What did it end up being? Is it a calf? They told us today. I think so. So I don't love it.
We tape Fantasy Live in the morning.
I'm like, I can't remember what I did a video. I swear I know what it is, but I'm with you, right? Because he was able to prove us. I didn't have a lot of him last season. No. And so now coming into this year, I was like, yikes, that didn't go. I mean, he proved like a lot of the doubters wrong in year 2, which again, it wasn't that I was doubting him. I just at the price. And I think I liked other guys going around him. But like you said, the efficiency fell last season. So when he had the high ankle sprain, and I know people are going to look at that, but managed 4.5 yards per carry, and is like teammates struggled. So I'm starting to get bad vibes. But here's the thing, Adam, you said it at the beginning of the show. I am stuck in pick 12, pick 14 hell. Yeah. And so it's such a tough spot for me. And I told Adam this in one of the breaks today. I said to Adam Ronis, I said, listen, I'm picking 14 in GST. And I think in 2 leagues, I've had to take one of Puka Nacua or Devon Achane because they've just fallen to me. Yeah. And at some point, you just have to look around, especially for, people watching and people listening. I know you guys are some sickos are in here just drafting a ton of teams. And at some point, you just have to say, like, enough is enough. So I'm nervous that I'm going to get stuck with an Achane, Puka Nacua coming up to me at pick 14 this weekend, and I'm going to have to make a decision. But it's also interesting because we talked with Dwayne McFarland today about, preseason. He does his preseason utilization takeaways. And I was like, all right, Dwayne, so what are we looking at? Is it Jalen Wright season? And he's like, well, no, I don't think he's proven enough yet. So really, is there this possibility that the RB2, that the handcuff role to Achane is open to Ollie Gordon?
Ollie Gordon.
And that's my thing. So at this point, like when we hear that and we hear, when we hear that from Dwayne, and then when we see it in the preseason utilization, again, we try not to overreact, but like you had Jalen Wright played 100% of the plays over the first 3 drives with some of the guys in there, but it was rough, right? It was rough over the weekend for him. So now I'm like, wow, am I treating this like okay, if you draft Achane, just make sure you get one of those guys. But I'm with you. I'm kind of getting, the vibes aren't great. I mean, Miami as a whole, they're saying Tyreek Hill's potentially on the trade block. Like we could see a move before the trade deadline. It's gross.
Yeah, I don't like it. I avoid it. We'll end on a guy that we both are in concert with, who I absolutely love, Brian Thomas Jr. I know that you had him when you did your rankings. You had him at number 4. I'm with you. Like I go back and forth between him and Malik Neighbors being in that number 4 spot, but I really love Brian Thomas Jr. this season.
I do too. And I didn't even feel bad about it. People are like, 4 is crazy. Like that's insane. And I was like, no, it's just opinions. Again, that's what rankings are. And I love him this season. Trevor Lawrence, another later round quarterback. If you guys are looking for one or in the market, like I just think, yes, they got Travis Hunter in there. And I think that scared a lot of people away, where I don't think that Brian Thomas Jr. should be going at the 1-2 turn at all. In my opinion, I take him every single time because I just say, this is a gift. Like you are gift wrapping me someone that could potentially finish as one of the top 2 wide receivers in fantasy football this season. So I really like him. And I think he's stayed there. I don't think I've changed him yet this season because I'm excited for him. I'm excited for this Jacksonville team as a whole, besides their running backs, because talking about another gross situation of just like what's going to happen there. But yeah, I love Brian Thomas Jr. this season. I'm with you on that one.
I dig it so much. I think he's going to end up being really good. Listen, don't want to let you. We need to let you go, but before we do, I've said it time and time again. NFL Fantasy Life comes to you at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sirius XM. But Fantasy Life is so much more than that. Can you tell the people what? Yes. Can you give a little bit more? Because they're like, well, what is this Fantasy Life? It's more than just a radio show. It's so much more. Kendall, I'll let you take the floor.
We go way deeper than that. And that's why it's so exciting. But I appreciate you asking, because if you guys haven't checked out fantasylife.com, that is just where we're at. Like that is our living, breathing thing that we are so proud of. We've done so many upgrades over the off season, especially. So we've got new tools for you. If you love, the utilization report from Dwayne McFarland, we've got a whole utilization suite for you. We've got the ADP tool that I always talk about on Sirius XM. We've got tools to help you with your draft, and then we've got tools to help you with in-season management. And I think that's where you're going to get some of the most important things, and how people always win and dominate with us is like we're using fantasylife.com every single time. So all of our articles are 100% free. So I want to make sure that everyone goes to check that out. But Fantasy Life Plus, we've got tier 1, tier 2 subscriptions. You can use the code Kendall20, Kendall 20, gets you 20% off either the tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. But yeah, it's the best. We've got great upgrades. Matthew Berry did a phenomenal job in leading this team with us this offseason to really make this a cool place to go for all of your fantasy football information. So I can't recommend it enough. And I'm biased, but I use it every single day.
Well, I'm not biased. It is my favorite. Your guys' show is my favorite on all the Sirius XM.
Thank you.
Apologies to Jeff Mans. No disrespect. You're also great. But I love the Fantasy Life. Want to thank you so much for stopping by with us here tonight. Hopefully we can do it again sometime in the future. And with that, for Kendall, I'm Adam. And that's it from the Fantasy Aisle. Shane, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.